Here's a silence no one talks about, the kind that shows up the moment you wake up in a world that's still asleep. At first, awakening feels like a revelation. You see the systems for what they are. You feel everything. You know too much. And for a second, it's exhilarating. But then comes the grief, because being awake doesn't make you powerful. Not right away, it makes you alone. You walk into rooms and can't unsee the masks, the performance, the fear behind everyone's smiles. You hear what isn't being said. You feel the tension in people's laughter. You watch them swallow the truth they're too scared to name. And you? You're the one who ruins the mood, who doesn't let things go, who always wants to talk about the uncomfortable. You're the buzzkill in a culture addicted to comfort, so you stop talking. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to waste words on people who aren't listening. You go quiet, not out of defeat, but out of knowing. Knowing that not everyone wants to wake up, that some people love their sleep. And that's the loneliest part. Not the clarity, not the insight, the disconnection. You're surrounded but untouched. You love people, but from a distance they never even notice. You're living in a deeper layer of reality, and it hurts watching people laugh on the surface like everything's fine. You stop getting invited to things because you changed. You did. You got honest. You stopped laughing at jokes that weren't funny. You stopped participating in cycles that drained you. You stopped betraying yourself for approval. They call it moodiness. You call it boundaries. They call it overthinking. You call it awareness. They call it intense. You call it real. Awakening is lonely because it strips you of illusions, of distractions, of all the noise you use to keep yourself asleep. And when it's quiet, really quiet, you realize how much of your old life was built on compromise. But here's the twist. The loneliness is proof you're alive. The ache in your chest when you see through people, that's your compassion. The anger you feel at systems, that's your clarity. The stillness you crave, that's your rebirth. And you're not actually alone. Others like you exist. The ones who feel too deeply, who speak in truths, not small talk, who've been labeled too much their whole lives. We find each other in fragments, in art, in poetry, in songs that hurt too good, in silence that feels like home. No, it's not easy. But would you really go back? Back to pretending? Back to numbing? Back to nodding along with a life that made your soul shrink? Didn't think so. So yeah, maybe being awake in an asleep world is lonely, but it's also liberation. You're no longer chained to the script. You're no longer playing a role you never auditioned for. You're wide-eyed, raw, real, and finally, fully, painfully human. And one day someone will look at you and say, "You see it too, don't you?" And you'll smile. Because in that moment you'll remember, even in the loneliness, you were never alone.